All right, this is ninth lit, and we're every class is in a different point, but we're finishing up the Nun's Priest Tale. If anybody is going to watch this, do you remember in the last section he's talking about? Remember how the fox outsmarted Chanticleer? Anybody want to tell us how he did that? Yes.
He told him that he remembered hearing how good his father was, because his father would close his eyes and stick his neck out to sing. And when he did that, he couldn't see the fox. And also his neck was out. The fox did.
Fine. So he outsmarted him. He grabbed him. He's running away. And the hens in the barnyard are raising a racket because their lord, their husband, whatever you want, their king, Chanticleer, has been taken. So they're crying. They're calling out. Do you remember what three historical events are being referred to here?
The women of Troy, Carthage, and Rome.
Right, and so that's clearly overstating it. It's a part of the mock heroic. These are chickens, these are hens, and yet they are being compared to these monumental events in history and literature. Well, that continues here, that mockery, but here it's more in the way that it's written, not so much as what's being written, although that's part of it. Just listen, okay? Listen to what, I mean, sometimes we hear the words, but we miss, what do you miss the trees because of the forest, or vice versa? You're looking at it, but you're still missing something. So tell me what you hear when I finish reading this. All right, so this is the nun's priest, the narrator, continuing showing the hen's reaction to the theft of Chanticleer. Now let me turn again to my tale. This blessed widow and her daughters too. So we hadn't heard from them since the opening lines of the poem. Heard all these hens in clamor and halloo, and rushing to the door at all the shrieking, they saw the fox toward the covert streaking, and on his shoulder Chanticleer stretched flat. Look, look, they cried, oh mercy, look at that. Ha ha, the fox, and after him they ran. And stick in hand ran many a serving man. Ran Call our dog, ran Talbot, ran and Shaggy. And with a distaff in her hand ran Maggie. Ran cow, ran calf, ran the very hogs in terror at the barking of the dogs. The men, the women shouted, ran and cursed. They ran so hard they thought their hearts would burst. I'm going to just stop right there. Does that sound like anything to you? Does anything come to, I did actually have one student immediately picked up on it. Did the sound of it, not only what's being described, but how it's being described? All right, I'll read again in a minute, but let me keep going. They yelled like fiends in hell. Ducks left the water, quacking and flapping as on the point of slaughter. Up flew the geese in terror over the trees. Out of the hive came forth the swarm of bees. So hideous was the noise, God bless us all. Jack Straw and all his followers in their brawl were never half so shrill for all their noise when they were murdering those Flemish boys. And at that day's hue and cry upon the fox, they grabbed up trumpets made of brass and box, of horn and bone, in which they blew and pooped, and therewithal they shouted and they whooped, so that it seemed the very heaven would fall. So, tell me what at least is being described.
The mob going after, like, the fox, I guess.
The what?
The mob going after the fox.
You said them all?
Or all of them.
Yeah, I mean, in other words, all the animals, all the people, they're all chasing the fox who's carrying. Let me read that little section again and see if it doesn't ring a bell. I'm going to read it one more time. Again, what does this sound like? Yeah.
Should I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Are you going to tell me what it sounds like?
Yeah,
Well, let me read it again before you answer. All right, listen to this. Look, look, they cried. Oh, mercy, look at that. Ha ha, the fox, and after that they ran. And the stick in hand ran many a serving man. Ran Call, our dog, ran Talbot, Bran, and Shaggy. And with a distaff in her hand ran Maggie. Ran cow and calf, and ran the very hogs in terror of the barking dogs. Nothing, right? You know, nothing strikes you. What do you think?
I mean, okay, this might not not be it, but like the gingerbread man, how everybody chases him, like in
Well,
order
what
to-
is the ginger, what class would you put the gingerbread man? Like, what kind of genre? No, you're on the right track.
Absurdism.
What, how would you classify the gingerbread?
Absurdism?
Yeah?
Like a children's story?
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
It's exactly what we're talking about. This sounds like a children's story.
Oh, yes!
Yeah. So,
This was like a-
I am relieved that you picked up on it. It's a children's story. It's, listen, it sounds like one, but remember, it is not. The Canterbury Tales are not really for children. Now, this one isn't so bad, but some of them are definitely not appropriate for children. So what's he doing, making this sound like a children's story? He's making fun of it. So it's another example of that mock heroic where he's making fun of the thing. Good job. But it's the fun is not over. I need somebody to read this. All right, we'll start with Olivia. We'll get all of you to help. The fun is not over, and I mean that word, fun. Go ahead.
And now that people pay attention all, see how Dame Fortune quickly changes side and robs her enemy of pleasant pride. This cock that lay upon the fox's back, in all his dread contrived to give a quack, and said, Sir Fox, if I were you, as God's my witness, I would round upon these clods and shout, Turn back, you saucy bumpkins all. A very pestilence upon you fall. Now that I have in safety reached the wood, do what you like. The cock is mine for good. I'll eat him there in spite of everyone. The fox
Before you go on, remember the story up to this point has been about the fox outsmarting Chanticleer, right? What did Chanticleer just do here?
tricked him.
How did he trick him?
He told him to turn back and shout and stuff.
Right, and he's basically saying you ought to taunt the people that are coming after you. But how is that tricking him? Yeah, Julie.
You wanted the fox to open his mouth so he could fly away.
That's exactly right.
Oh, to make him talk?
Just where is Chanticleer right now?
In his head. In his
mouth.
head.
Okay, so what happens when he opens his mouth to talk?
He
He's gone. He's escaped. So now you have the rooster Chanticleer outfoxing the fox. Yeah, we need somebody to read.
Wait.
All right. Oh, did you not read yet?
No.
Okay, I'm sorry. Right, read.
The fox replied, Faith, it shall be done, opened his mouth and spoke. The noble bird, breaking away upon the uttered word, flew high into the tree tops on the spot. And when the fox perceived where he had got, alas, he cried, alas, my chance.
Wait a minute. He just got outsmarted by the chicken. What do you think he would do next?
Climb tree.
Or
Possibly.
like get him back somehow?
Get him back somehow. Do you think he would admit, oh, you got me, I mean, darn it, I've been outsmarted. How do you think he could get him back?
Climb.
Okay, let's see how he plans to do
Or
it.
like I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Eat a
I've
person
done you
instead.
grievous wrong, indeed, I hear. I must have frightened you, I grabbed too hard when I caught hold and took you from the yard. But sir, I meant no harm, don't be offended, come down and I'll explain what I intended. So help me God, I'll tell the truth, on oath.
So how's he gonna get him down?
He's going,
Tell
he's
the
like,
truth.
he's like, I was just trying to, take you on a walk,
So-
by your neck.
He's flattering him again. He's lying to him again, just like he did the first time. Now, I don't admire people who lie and con people, but I have to admire his coolness under pressure.
Yeah.
The fact that he got caught. Oh, he's not gonna give it up. He's gonna fall back into, oh, I didn't know what was going on. The only thing about that that's admirable is their ability to stay cool under pressure. When you read Huck Finn when you're a junior, he is a master at that. And we don't admire lying, we don't admire conning, but I do kind of admire people who think on their feet. We're trying to get you to be able to think on your feet here. So let's see if you think Chanticleer's going to fall for it again.
No, said the cock, and curses on us both, and first on me if I were such a dunce, as let you fool me oftener than once. Never again, for all your flattering lies, you'll coax a song to make me blink my eyes, and as for such it is not to be on your guard against the flatters of the world or yard. And if you think my story is absurd, a foolish trifle of a beast and a bird, a fable of a fox and cock's a hen, take hold upon the moral gentleman. St. Paul himself, a saint of great discerning, says that all things are written for our learning. So take the grain and let the shaft be still, and gracious Father, if it be thy will, as saith my Savior, make us all good men, and bring us to his heavenly bliss. Amen.
The answer was no. He will not fool him again. Yes.
Oh, I just wanted to say the moral.
Yeah, that's the next question. What is the moral of the
Is it to like be on your guard against people who are like flattering?
Yes. And if you want to write this down, you can check it out. Proverbs 29:5. I don't remember it right off the top of my head, but it speaks about flattery. Proverbs 29:5.
Against flatterers.
Yeah, that's the moral. Every story has to have one. I think most of them,
But
in
also
fact,
listen
do.
to your dreams a little bit.
But what we're going to do is follow the nun's priests, and it appears to him, there are a lot of things we learn. We learn about dreams, we learn about predestination, we learn about tricking people. But the moral, according to the speaker, would be the flattery part. Yeah.
What was the verse? Sorry.
It's Proverbs 29:11.
Okay.
We got my curiosity up now. I know it has to do with this flattery, but what does it say? 29:11. All right, here it is. A fool. Oh, that can't be it. What does it say? 29:5. Sorry. A man who flatters his neighbor spreads a net for his feet. You know, the interesting about Proverbs, it just sometimes just states the truth. Like one time, it talks about how effective a bribe is. Do you think the Bible endorses bribing people? No, but the book of Proverbs is just saying this is how the world works. It's clear a flatterer is spreading a net. He's going to catch his neighbor through the flattery. And we love to hear it, but it's dangerous. Maybe not, sometimes not dangerous, but you might get fooled. All right, any questions from you about the physicians? No, the nun's priest tale. Yes, sir.
What are two aspects of the tale that are characteristic of a macaroon?
All right. Well, we just talked about two.
One was the myth sound like a kid's story.
Yeah.
And the characters were like the animals were brought up to be like human heroes.
Yeah, overall the characters like Lord Fertolote and Lady Fertolote and Chanticleer, they make them appear to be lords and ladies, which they are not. Yes.
I have two.
Yeah.
So what two Bible stories does Chanticleer cite to prove this one?
Yeah, we just moved right through that, but you remember, who are the two people in the Bible you most associate with dreams?
He said the Pharaoh of Egypt, with the butler and the cook, and
Okay, that would be the story of Joseph.
then Book of Daniel, that was the Joseph one.
Yeah, Joseph was the Pharaoh, and Daniel was, do you remember any dreams Daniel had?
The wheat. And
He didn't have dreams. Yeah, he did.
You had the one about the wheat falling down.
That's Joseph. That's
Oh, you had
Joseph.
the ladder.
So it's the story of Joseph and
The story of the butler.
Yeah.
But that is
Jacob had a dream, yeah. But I'm talking about Daniel. Anybody, what did you say, Andrew? You said
He had a ladder. No, Jacob had the ladder. Right?
all right, one of the dreams that Daniel had was well, it wasn't his dream, but he interpreted the dream of Nebuchadnezzar, who dreamed about the statue, and he interpreted it, and then he had another dream, and Daniel, the handwriting on the wall, remember that? Belshazzar. So Daniel was an interpreter of other people's dreams, and I think he did have a dream. He had a vision. All right, any other questions? Yes.
What is predestination?
All right, I'll just state, remember we said that predestination is the belief, which is biblical. It just depends on your interpretation. The belief that God predestines, in a sense, all actions, everything that happens, God predestines. But usually it refers to specifically salvation, that God predestines people to be saved. Now, if you're Baptist, you would say that you choose to be saved, and God simply sees that you do that, and as a result, he predestines you based on your choosing him. Presbyterians, frankly, it's the position that seems most clear in the Bible to me, is that God actually predestines salvation. He doesn't just see it, but he makes it happen. Several places in the Bible it talks about how Paul says, God chose you. They call it the chosen people. God's always doing a lot of, Jesus chose the 12 apostles. He picked them out, but you can decide for yourself. But it refers to God's seeing and ordaining your salvation in advance. Yes?
What about fast setting? How is the setting?
I'm sorry?
How is the setting of the story fast?
It's not. That's why it's a mock epic. It's supposed to be vast, and yet it isn't. It's take place in a barnyard. So that's how he's making fun of the epic scenario by setting this epic story in a small arena. All right, can we move on? I think this might be worth spending a minute, maybe. Okay, and then we'll get Ben to read. We're going to read the very next story here, which you have it next in your packet. But these are words that Chaucer wrote to transition out of the Nun's Priest's Tale into the next tale. So these are the words the host is speaking to the Nun's priest.
Sir priest, our host remarked in merry tones, blessed be your virtues and your precious stones. That was a merry tale of Chanticleer. If you only had been a secular, you would have trodden a pretty fowl, no doubt. Had you the heart, your muscles would hold out. You look as if you needed hens, I mean, yes, more than 7. 7 times 17. Just look what a brawn he has, this gentle priest, and what a neck. His chest's not of the least, and for his eyes, they're like a sparrow hawk's, and his complexion like a bulk of chalk, a box of chalk. It's no dyes imported from the east or Portugal. Good luck to you, sir priest, for telling a fine tale, and saying thus he turned, as you shall hear, to one of us.
And notice that the next sentence is in italics. That makes me think the editors included that. So Chaucer didn't finish telling us who should be next. So for some reason they've chosen the physician's tale. So turn the page, and Ben's going to get us started. We stay at 11:30, so we still have a few minutes. Do you remember anything about the physician?
He was good, but he also, didn't he bribe people, and, he took their money and...
Well, he seemed to have a racket with the apothecaries, the druggists, to get, to make money off his clients.
Oh, yeah, he made money off, the widows and stuff.
No, that was the friar and the summoner. Now, this guy's not cheating anybody, but it seems a little shady. He's very materialistic. He really likes money. He doesn't read the Bible. He does read his horoscope and his patient's horoscope. So medieval medicine has a lot of superstition involved in it. So not a bad guy, but he's not perfect either. So here's his story. Man, you can read as much as you want.
Livius handed down a tale to us about a knight surnamed Virginius. He was a man of honorable birth, rich, well-befriended, and of sterling worth.
So you get the first question. It deals with Virginius. He's one of the main characters of the story, and he's a knight.
This knight had a daughter by his wife. There were no other children in his life, but of excelling loveliness was she, above all others that a man might see. Of nature had shown a sovereign diligence in forming her to such an excellence, as if she wished to say, look, I am nature, and this is how I form and paint a creature, when so I choose. Who dares or counterfeit? No, not Pygmalion. Though he forged and beat, color and carved forever, I maintain that
With Zeus. I don't know why it's spelled that way.
Zeus and Apollo would work in vain to color or to carve, to forge or beat, if they presume to make a counterfeit. For he is that, for that is the maker principle, appointed me his vicar general, to fashion creatures all that ever were, and painted them as I please. For in my care lies all that's under the moon, in wax or wane I form them all. I do not work for gain. My Lord and I are leagued in close accord. I made her for the worship of my Lord, and so I do with all my other creatures, whatever be their color of their features. This was, I think, what nature meant to say.
All right, so he's introducing the daughter of Virginius, who is the main focus of the story. And what does he say about it? He uses nature speaking about this girl. What would you say about her?
She's like really perfect.
She's, yes, and we'll find out how in just a minute, but she's like this ideal creature that God made. Who else wanted to read? Is somebody else
What's
over?
her most important attribute?
What?
What's her most important?
Well, that's coming next. All right, Grayson's going to read. We'll find out what her most important traits are. We're on 232, bottom of the page.
The maiden was 14, on whose array nature had spent her care with such delight, for just as she can paint a lily white, rather than raise and teach it to unfurl her petals, so she touched this noble girl. Ere she was born, her limbs so lissom she had touched with color where they ought to be. Boebus, her mass of tresses with a gleam, had dyed and burnished from his golden stream, and if her beauty was beyond compare, her virtue was 1,000 times more rare. There lacked no quality in her to move, praises sober wisdom would approve. Chaste of her body and her soul was she, and so she flowered in her virginity, with all humility and abstinence, and temperate and patient innocence, with modesty of bearing and of dress, and showed in speech a modesty no less. Though I dare say, as wise as Pallas, she was simple in her words and womanly. She used no fancy terms in the affectation of learning, but according to her station she spoke, and everything she said, she showed that she was good and gently bred. Shamefast she was, and made in shamefastness, and constant in her heart she was expressed, in conquering sloth to fill the busy hour. Over her mouth had never batches power. For wine and youth swell Venus and desire, much as when oil is cast upon the fire. Indeed, her native goodness unconstrained so prompted her that she had often feigned some sickness to escape from company where there was likelihood of ribaldry. As well there may be junketings and dances, are good occasions for lascivious glances. Such things as these may soon too easily make a child bold and ripe as one conceived. That's very dangerous and long had been, for all too soon she learns to play the queen. And how bold she is when she's alive.
Oh, that's good. All right, so we can answer the next question. There's more than one thing. I mean, you can use one word to describe, but then it'd be good to look at the specifics of that. So besides being beautiful, in fact, what color is her hair?
Gold, sort of.
Yes, how do you know that?
Is that her most important quality?
No.
Wait, what was the thing?
I just, her appearance is not her most important quality, but I just asked, how do you know her hair is golden?
Venus, her mass of tress with a gleam, had dyed and burnished from his golden flame.
All right, good, I just thought that out. So what is her most important quality? Yeah.
Virtue.
Yes, her virtue. And just to save us a little time, I'm going to list some of the things that were mentioned. She's chaste. You know what that means. Well, you may not know what it means. It says sexually pure, humble, modest, in dress and in speech, patient, wise, loyal, constant or consistent, faithful. She's busy. She stays busy. She resists temptation. At the end it says, wherever there was some sickness, well, let me back up. Indeed, her native goodness, unconstrained, so prompted her that she often feigned some sickness to escape from company where there was likelihood of rivalry. If she knew there was a party and things were going on that weren't like rivalry means, strong partying with liquor and probably all that goes with it, she would, I'm not feeling well. She wouldn't go. As well, there may be junketings. Those are trips, and dances are a good occasion for lascivious glances. Such things as these may soon too easily make a child bold and ripe, as one could see. She had an ability to restrain and not do certain things. How about finishing up with this? Anybody want to finish it? All right. 234. Yes.
And all you ladies that in middle life are put in charge of younger gentlefolk, pray do not think I speak as to provoke. Your anger think that your point springs from either one or other of two things. Either that you were chaste and did not fail to guard your honor, or that you were frail, and therefore, knowing well the ancient dance, you have forsaken your intemperance forever. Teach them then for, is that Jesus? Was that Jesus?
The same thing, yes.
Alright, Jesus' sake, and never slacken virtue's estate, just as a poacher who forsakes his crimes and leaves his trade in
Betimes. Oh, word.
Makes the best gamekeeper. He's just the man. Keep your charges if you can. Never belittle or connive at vice, lest you should pay damnation as the price. For those who do are traitors, never doubt it, and so give heed to what I say about it. Top of all treason, sovereign pestilence, is the betrayal done on innocence.
He's talking to the guardians, the people, the governesses, the teachers, and he's saying it's your job to help this girl and your student to stay virtuous. Which is the more effective person, in your opinion? The person that was didn't get in a lot of trouble. We used to do this about drug use. Is it more effective for people that are thinking about using drugs? Is the ex-drug addict who learned his lesson more effective, or is the person who never used them at all more effective?
Yes.
Well, he makes the argument that you could say that. If you were going to come up with a protection system for your house, you would want, a reformed robber to be able to tell you, yeah, this is what we do. So maybe there's a point to that.
What advice does someone give in charge of?
That's what we're saying. Guard your person, your student. Make sure that they stay out of trouble. All right, we will see you Monday. Have a good weekend.